Oh, hello. I'm gonna try something new. For about 2 years, I had daily uploads of gameplay of the song visualizer. But now I'm gonna try more devlog because I spend most of my time programming, and that's never really showcased. And I'm gonna try to go through the flow of new user, brand new. So what happens is running the program at first, the very first thing that happens is logging in to a server with credentials. So this program is the client and I have a server that it connects to. So at this point, I had to load an environment file. I'm not going to open it, but you can see it's right here, hidden. And that contains stuff to get past the very first step, along with a API key of sort to interact with my server through API calls, basically uploading, downloading files, and checking manifest files. But I'll get into that later. For now, I'll just start up the program. So Song Visualizer version 1.1D alpha. I've boosted up the version quite a bit recently. So I have the terminal showing just so I could see the debug prints and errors. So what happens is I first get greeted with this pop-up. Please set the following file paths, in particular 3 folders that it's looking for, and 1 preference. So the folders are for essentially 3 aspects of the project. The first one generating the files, second one visualizing, and the third one for the data. So let me select. On the desktop here, there's this folder, Song Creator Vision. And that is one that I've already have set up. But like I said, I'm going to try doing this as a new user, which means I'm going to delete the existing data. So that would be, let me just make a new one. New. I gotta make a new folder. Visualize. Generate. Data. I'm gonna select these. So 1 second. Just selecting the folders. Song visualizer. And yeah, right now it's requiring certain data. 1 second. So right here, I got the 3 folders, but now it's wanting a default song. So what happens is the program I tried to convey right here what it requires. The folders for visualizing files should have the following layout. So the root folder is going to be the tuning folders. So we're going to do a new folder inside the visualize folder. I'm going to call it E standard. And I'm going to borrow a song. Song visualizer, the E standard. So inside the tuning folder should be the artist folder. So I'm going to make my own artist folder. And all the artist folder may have an optional folder. So I'm going to put one for my second album, 3-dimensional. I'm just going to copy one song to there. GP5 format file. Okay, and then I'm going to select that song as a default. Yeah, there may be a case. Oh, I spelled 3-dimensional wrong. Whoops. There may be a case where the user doesn't have this set up that I have to consider. Okay, so I have everything set. Default song. Apply. Created tuning folders. Drop C, drop D, E flat, open G, open E. The ones that were missing. Okay, and now it's giving me a warning. Songs table is empty. Press OK to update database songs table. And I gave it an error and it crashed. Let's see. I've been putting a lot of prints for database connection closing because I've been trying to not to close the database during a chunk of calls as to not open close repetitively. Okay, I reset programs as presets not found. Click yes to download from server. And that is in the data. So I hit yes. And so it downloaded 2 folders. Presets for song creator. Click yes to sync with server to down guitar input frequency definitions. That's when you plug in guitar. So now I downloaded output frequencies, input frequencies. Click yes to sync server to download guitar. Yes again. Okay. I go back, output. Now there's actually all the files. If I want to see what those are, I've recently changed logic on this too. It's JSON format for each string fret frequency. Different chord strings frets. Please select input device. Okay. For now, I'm going to do the Universal Audio Thunderbolt. Okay, it saves it. Now I'm at the start menu. And at first, I'm going to synchronize the database because I only have essentially one song. Like if I go back to quick play, the song opened by default. I open the files. There's no data to display. Times played 0, last played never. just my single file. And yeah, that's true, but I'm technically a new user at this point. But I want to synchronize my previous data. So I have at least a year's worth of valid data. Like if I go to stats, nothing's loading. So I'm going to go to database. And we're going to see these files or these folders generate content. So I'm going to synchronize the GP5 files, synchronize the JSON and the song stats, come back to the rest of the stuff later. So now it's just downloading things that are on the server that are not on the client. It does that by generating manifest files, compares between server and client. Like if we open, right now it just says I have one file, has the path, checksum, and last modified. So it compares with the server as to which is newer and which should download or upload. So if you look around now it's downloading all the folders and all the songs that are on the server from my profile. Took almost a minute. And we can see all the file. It says I have 320 different guitar profiles apparently. And then we have 453 JSONs, 1600 stats. Only 687 of them are around there, are from 2024 though. But we got a lot of 2023s as well, September 2023. Between all the time spans, I changed what was inside the JSONs. That's why it's alpha. Data changes a lot. So now if I go to the quick play and I go to open songs, I have more songs, but you see the stats are still not synchronized. The times played, last played. But I have the folders, I have the files at least. Okay. And now I go back to database. I know that files are synchronized, but now I want to, it says destroy career tables, but non-career tables, but I'm going to check this anyway. So I'm going to update all the database now, songs table, just details of the songs, note logs, song stats, tempos, tempo settings, output frequency. And I'm going to synchronize the career data because if I go to career mode, let's see what happens. I'm level 1, new game. Just have one country unlocked. But let's go synchronize and grab the data. So now it's finding songs, going through all the songs, grouping them together, sorting them. So it's the same order between different operating systems. Going through all the plays, grabbing all the notes from all the plays. Processing all the frequencies, all the single notes, 2-note chords and 3-note chords. Grabbing all the playthrough data and putting them into database. Now it's asking me to synchronize career. I'm just going to basically say download the server one. I don't want to upload the current because it's a brand new one. So I'm just downloading the server version of the career right here. Took 50 seconds because it took forever for me to click. See, 50 seconds. If I go back, career is now updated at level 36, 3 countries unlocked. 2 airplanes should be 3 though. Look how they anti-collide. There, now there's 3. They fly across the world to the unlocked countries based on the level. Career mode is a whole entire thing though. You can see I'm currently at 4% global career progress complete, 66% United States. I have 2 cities completed, almost mastered. Nashville, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 venues completed, 9 required for mastery, 3 required for completion, so I'm 40% mastered. Different levels go to have different tempo settings. Difficulty 4. This is E flat lead. You know, I played this song for the first time from Poison. It's not bad. Played it twice last session. But that's a whole nother topic as well, sessions and set lists. If I go to set lists, oh man, I forgot to delete a song. Why is this here? Hold on. If I go to data, E flat, test, song stats. I don't want this. I should not have downloaded. Darn it. But if I go to E standard, tests, song stats, this one I don't want. I thought I removed test files from synchronizing on server. Let me try again. This time don't destroy table. Essentially a lot of debugging. No, I downloaded it again. That's a bummer. I had in my code not to synchronize test files. Oh well. Let's see what session set list it creates. Like I have to force certain conditions for JSON to generate. Like I have a debug option to debug the note hit. So it sets all the note hits to true, but it does it in a user perspective way. When I have that on, debug note hit, it doesn't save JSON files unless I hard code it. I'm running it compiled, quote, compiled version, quote unquote, because this is Python. I don't have IDE open, source code private. So one thing that I've done recently, okay, so I deleted the test stats so it didn't create it. In progress, these should be completed. So one thing I did recently is change the rules of session set lists. There's 2 in particular right here. They're the perfect demonstrations of that. So my initial definition of session set list is these are created automatically. Start playing, and what it does is track what's played. So at first I had the rule for a session to be 1 session a day. So no matter what time you play in a day, it'll group it into that same session set list. So if I play in the morning, the session set list is created. If I come back at night, play again, it uses that same session set list to continue and expand. So every session set list here is practically 1 day scope. 10 songs here, 12 there, 9 there, 7 here, 13 here, whatever, all in one day. But recently, I've always wanted to change that just a little bit to extend it to, oh, what happens if you play after midnight? Like you start it before midnight and you end it after midnight. Like unnecessarily complex, but I went after it and I added logic. Okay, the current time is after midnight. Check the recent session set list. Grab its timestamp. Will this work if I click it? No, it crashed. Let's try that again. You can see the error is to the file paths, but I'm not going to highlight that. It might be missing data. Let's see. No, it's all here. Yeah, what I tried to do is click on a song to have it show a pop-up. But that seems like that pop-up errors sometimes. For one thing, it might require all data, but I gotta catch that error. So yeah, let's go back there as soon as it's done synchronizing data. It would go faster if I didn't have this GUI to show. Because showing this data getting updated is actually slows down the process. Because it has to write it to the screen for display. But I did optimize the database. It took 12 to 20 minutes before doing individual queries one at a time, but I batched them now. Thousands of queries at a time. Like one table notes is like over, I don't know, 600,000 because it's every note for over 600 plays. And the average play has average 1,000 notes or so. Okay, so let's go back to set list. Well, let me click. No, it doesn't like that. Error, error. None type has no attribute. Yeah, that click stuff requires a lot of data synchronization. I'll come back to that. Essentially, what I added recently was clicking a song in a set list will open a pop-up of more information from the database on it. I'll come back to that. What I was trying to get into is the session set list. What I added was to continue the session if you're playing after midnight, from before midnight to after midnight. But it's only checking for an hour gap. If you played up to 1 a.m. from 11:50 p.m., it'll add that session. But if you play it over an hour after 12 a.m., or you play 11:50, then 2 a.m., then it'll make a new session for the next day. That took a lot of writing because what happens when you play a song, it checks all that logic. Does a session set list exist? No, create one. If it does exist, is it from today or is it from the end of yesterday into today? So it took a bit of writing. And the reason why I did this is because every time I play, I record and it gets tiring to manually track. So this takes a lot of time off my hands if it's all written out for me. If I do like this generate track list button, it actually generates the output into a text file. Let's see if I can find it. I think I know where it's at. It's different output because I'm using IDE version of the program as opposed, sorry, I'm using a version of the program that's not relying on the IDE, which means the folders are different paths. So let me see. if I could find it. Track lists. Couldn't even tell you where it generated. It'd be nice if it opened afterwards. No, I have no idea where it generated. I could search for it. So it's called track list. No, actually it's called session 476. Okay, I found it. Um, so it generates the track list. It says session number, set list, track number, artist, song, arrangement, accuracy, average tempo. Those are things to know because obviously, yes, every time I play, the tempo is dynamic because I have to sight read and that adds latency. So I slow down the tempo to sight read, but that's another story. And in the set list, you could create a new one, you could modify it. I don't know why I have created a new one. That's before you start playing for the day, and there's none for the day. Because I removed the ability for the user to do the session stuff. I could just do the set list now. I still have to figure that out. Because if once you start playing, it's gonna create one and go by that. So I have to figure out how this fits in. It's more so easy to modify an existing one. Can't modify one that's completed. The screen is brand new. I used to have it on a tkinter pop-up, and I tried to get rid of that and it formatted all on the screen, which means custom logic, scroll behavior, click behavior. This one shouldn't be in progress, but I'm gonna modify it. Nope, I can't modify it because that shouldn't happen. All right, let's go back. Set list. If I did have one in progress, let's force it. No, I can't. Never mind. It's gonna know if I turn this debug on, it's not gonna save a session unless I change the hard code. So I can't demo the modify or the play next song. But if I had an in progress set list going, I could modify the set list, add a song, and go through them and like hit play next song. So I could plan out the track list in a queue rather than having to click it open every time after. I could just go back to set list. If it's in progress, I get play next song. It'll show as green if it's played, red if it's not yet played. So all these green ones are played. They have play IDs on the left. They're in the database. If I clicked it, it would open and pop up if it weren't bugged out right now. Might be because I'm using the non-IDE version that it errors out, but I'm not worried about it. The newest other thing that I did was this measure master section because I took out the plays. Sorry, I took out the session creator, or no, I took out the session screen on the start menu because I didn't see any point in having session. The point of it was like, oh, user could create a session and tie a set list to it. But I opted with the idea of doing that passively. So what happens in this is a song creator, but not focusing on that right now. So in the song visualizer measure master, two options, go through the first option, It's going to update database, although it keeps closing connection. Um, it went through all the data and it's sorting a list of songs based on criteria of where I need to improve based on the data. It makes a judgment score based on several factors. Um, one of them is which the accuracy is the accuracy missed in one section of the song, or is it missed more along the whole song? So on the top, it's sorting by areas that are more spread on the song. So this first song, Unknown Soldier by the Casualties, I have missed a lot of notes throughout the whole song. And if you see, this is a list sorted by the misses. So measure 65, 71, 61, 69, 68, 67, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of spread out. Measure 20, measure 30, measure 40, measure 70, 50, 30. Even the intro. So if it's more than 6 misses, it's yellow. If it's more than that, it's red. And then if it's 5 misses, it's green. But you can see that missed quite a bit. And I like to change the ordering to sort by measure, but at least I filter it by chords or by single notes. So the single notes are probably the introduction and the solo, whereas the chord is like the main riff. But I could do all notes. But what happens is I wanted something that would take me a long time to write. So that's why I implemented this. This is complicated. But it's functional. It's useful, has a purpose, has a point. So if I go in here, the goal is I check off, check off the measures that I want to practice. So that's why it's called practice queue. It's measure master practice queue, list of songs. You could even filter the songs by tuning and arrangement. So like, where do I need to improve on E flat rhythm? Well, perhaps Thin Lizzy, Cowboy Song. But look at my average accuracy is not that bad. But I can see where I can improve. 855 misses. Let's see what that is. So I hit add, measure 82, string 2, fret 17. Oh, really? So what happens is I go start practice. Now it takes me to there. I hit start, 2 minutes. It takes me to that exact measure. Oh, I got to change something here. The note speed movement is too slow. Will it end at the right measure? No, it will not. So that's something I have to fix. Oh, I remember what I had to do to fix this. I have to redo that. But it should have ended one measure in. But I'll have to because what happened is I pushed code and then I didn't pull the code. So I still have the code for that fix on the measure ending when it should. Because if I go back, measure master, practice queue, E flat, rhythm, cowboy song, it saves the practice queue to a database. So it doesn't consider it complete. It should just be one measure. But let me fix playback. Look ahead time. I can't believe I used to play with 2 seconds ahead. I gotta change that to like 1:15. Save. That's essentially the note speed. Now I stopped the song, started it over, so it kicked off the practice queue. Okay. Go back. Yeah, I gotta fix that bug. It's not a bug actually. It's a feature because I never correctly implemented the logic in this version. So it should end measure 83. Now it should be over already. It should be just one measure. Okay, but okay, I want to get into another. Hey, why did it choose lead? Hold on. It's another thing I have to re-implement. Practice cue, E flat, rhythm, start. Yeah, it didn't change the arrangement. I know I had it fixed in one branch. I'll just re-implement it. It's supposed to be rhythm. See how it's still a lead. Okay. Another thing I want to get into is if I get back into that cowboy song, something recent that I've been working on is expanding that. So when you go to measure master, you go to progress analysis. This one takes a little bit longer to generate. It's generating database table queries, blah, blah, blah. This is okay. So this is the opposite of practice queue. This is showing songs that have most improvement. Instead of areas where I need to improve, it's showing areas that I have improved and sorting them by the highest improvement. So if we look at the third song, Fighting My Way Back, Thin Lizzy, E flat lead. I don't yet have the filtering for arrangement and tuning yet on this screen, but um, it's showing all like, okay, it shows 86 measures. I've improved an average 55%. So far, right now, it just says by tiers, by 50%, 25 to 50 or less. The color coding is hard to differentiate right now, but at least it's functional. And right now, you can click into it and it shows the top improvement, shows you measure number. And of course, right now, the only way to reference this is if I open the Guitar Pro and if I just do that long process of um, finding out where it's referencing. Like, let's see, I'm opening Guitar Pro. I'm going to Thin Lizzy. Was it Fighting My Way Back? If I just open the guitar profile and I go, okay, measure 86. No, measure 50. I improved 100%. So it could be like, okay, where's that again? You get the idea. But I was thinking if I could somehow incorporate, if I go back and go in here and I go to the tempo screen, and the tempo screen right now I have logic for displaying like tablature view of the measures. Like if I go, what was it, measure 50 something? I could look right here, but it's a different song, I know. Fighting My Way Back. And you go to tempo, and you go to measure 50. So I was thinking of trying to grab this logic for displaying the measure this way and putting it inside of progress analysis. Right now it's generating the data again. Takes a bit. It's doing complex queries. We go here. Um, like right now, it doesn't really help much. Like, okay, what is measure 50? I mean, it's more of a concept right now that I could expand later. Like, I don't like how it doesn't have data for every measure. It's like, how does it not have data for every measure? I want to see every measure, not just certain criteria. Like this one just showing Don't Fear the Reaper improved 15 measures, average of 10%. That's going through my whole playthrough data of all time as well. I want to be able to like filter that more. So that gets into the most recent area that I've updated, which is if I go to quick play, I go to stats. Now, if I go to this new area, measure analysis, now you see it displays measure numbers. 0 is actually 1. I should fix that. But 0 through 159 or 1 through 160. So the current query is measures of all time. If I click on any measure, measure 0 or measure 1. Measure 1 analysis all time. Average accuracy 72. Average tempo 73. Total hits, total misses across the entire lifespan. So there's only, wait, what? How do I have 33 notes? That doesn't make sense. I can't have 33 notes in a measure. Something's off there. I gotta look into that. Like 6 notes, sure. 27, 42 notes. No count should be notes in the measure. I don't know. Something I did is off there. This is hard to do. But I have to double check these numbers. But times played I know is right. I've been editing this section a lot recently, so I'm still getting it. So on top of that, I have, yeah, when I click in the measure, there's a lot of space still. I want to be able to draw the measure here. So this is work in progress, but what I've been working on is a date picker. So what happens is if I go to the stats, you can see by date, the dates I played it, right? This is progress, accuracy score, disagreeing all measures. But that's what this measure analysis is. I want to compare just measure by measure across all the same dates, whatever. So this is March to December 2024 for lead. About how many? This is like 18 different arrangements, 16 or something like that. I'm not going to count it. It's not even counting December though, or January though. But if I go, I could work on it to have more pages. But anyways, the date picker is something I've been working on here. So what happens is this date selector, you have two different options for a range or for a toggle. So first option, I'm going to do range. We're going to select the year 2024. Now you go to the month, and now you can see that I didn't play this song for 3 months. August, September, October, May. But it lists the dates that I do have this as a valid option. So I'm going to go January. Same thing here again. It's going to go by only the valid dates I played them. So I played this 3 times in January. I'm going to do January 1st. From January 1st, 2024 to January 10th, 2024. And now you see the colors change for the measures. We got one measure 73 that's red-ish. Click on that. Measure 73 analysis. Oh, I get the note count. The note count is for all the notes that I played every time. So I played it 4 times. We got a note count of 12. Okay. I got to fix that to say how many notes are in the measure, not how many notes based on the plays, but I'll get to that. That's why I got confused. It is functioning correctly, just different than what I remembered. I have to add a new display for that. Notes in measure. Okay. So measure 73 from January 1st, 2024 to January 10th, 2024. I have average accuracy of 31%, average tempo of 90, total hits 15, total misses 33. Total notes. Oh, this does get confusing. I gotta change that. Anyways, times played 4. Okay, but let's see. If I clear that 2 from January 1st to, oh, I messed up. I hit right click. Right click takes me all the way back. Let's do that again. Okay. January 1st, 2024 to January 24th, 2024. January 1st to January 10th. I hit clear 2 and I hit 2 January 26th. How does my measure of 73 compare now? Okay, it went up from 30 accuracy to 40 accuracy. Note count is still 12 though. I gotta look into that note count. Like, why is note count 39? That's so strange. Anyways, if I clear that, clear the days, clear the month, whatever. Clear it. Now it goes back to from, because I was on 2, now it's going to from, because I cleared it from 2. But anyways, I'm going to switch it to toggle. This one's different logic. It's not a range. Now I can just toggle all the dates that I want to display all together. So if I want to display just all of January, and then let's see, what did the data update? Yeah, it did. So now it's showing only January. But I want to say all of June as well. So January and June only. I played 8 times between January and June. But it's not a range. Now it's just, wow, I played a lot in December. Include all this. Oh, you can see measure of 159. I only got 150%. And I could even do more. Select all the data. 18. Is that right? 18 times. 41 times. No, something's still off. Because if I did all, then how come all? Okay, there we go. Now it's 41. I played all year. I played 41 times. But it's pretty cool. I have to expand this some more. Took a lot to get this logic right. Grabbing the dates between the 2 modes, knowing what to query in the database, querying the data. It took a lot because this is all here. Let me show what this is doing. If I go to data and I go to E flat and I go to Thin Lizzy, I go to song stats. This is essentially what is querying. And I go to cowboy. So yeah, it's in 2 formats. Primarily it's in JSON. The note log. This is the data of my playthrough. Cowboy song, Thin Lizzy, E flat, April 22nd, 11/24, 2024. So November 24th. You know, at one time, I think I got rid of this. Actually, I'm not sure. But this is redundant, knowing the frequencies, but I kept it anyway. But basically, every note, every string, every fret, string 1, 2, fret 4, 5, status, hit, effect, none, hit time, timing, note end time, the early window for when I can hit the note, the late window, the last second I could hit the note, between 138.57 to 138.97, less than a second window, because, you know, each note length, this is a note length of 0.5, which I forget. I think that's eighth, because a quarter is 1. But these are float values, each note length. Measure tempo, measure the note index of the, so this is note number 329 of the entire song. Just go here, you can see note index 827. That's it. This is what I mean. The song has an average of 1,000 notes. In all songs, No index is 900. So close. But this is the JSON format. You got the database format. Database format, I tried getting portrayed. Not in this view. But I was trying to get it displayed inside the set list. But it's kind of broken. It errors. But when you click the song in the set list, it displays all the note information on the database side. So yeah, version 1.1D. Start menu, go to the leaderboard. It probably matters, but Interpol has been my best playthrough so far, July 24th, because I got 99% accuracy. This is fun how I grade the performance on several factors, because the goal is the project began with just this screen right here. Pick a song, play it. But then I get the note detection implemented. I get the accuracy, hit miss. Then I get to saving that data into note logs. And then what the fun part is the dynamic tempo screen. So I go to dynamic, it references those previous playthroughs. All those every information for every note. Like I want, yeah, actually this looks more like it. I'm surprised I opened a nice format last time, because I don't want to format the JSONs, because that increases the file storage file size if you have a nice format. But this dynamic tempo goes through the stats of, okay, what's the measure index? Okay, what's the note index? Okay, what's the measure tempo? What is the status of it? Uh, did you hit or miss the note? And so what this dynamic tempo screen does is alters the tempo of the song based on the previous playthroughs. And because my goal is to hit 100% of notes, and how can I do that if it's too fast? Slow it down. And I like having a dynamic measure by measure based on the playthrough. It helps me highlight certain things where I can improve, and other things like, well, of course, the note's going to get marked as missed if the frequency is incorrect in the definition. If the data output frequencies, if the chord has wrong frequency, or if the chord is not found in here. So I know like, oh, this measure is slow because the chord's not defined. So like one example of that is, so I have the song stats, times played, last played, because the database has that content. This screen queries the database now rather than look at the JSON. Because if I go to the data, there's each song has a JSON play info. Song title, times played, last played, total playtime, average playtime, last modified. This is all in the JSON, but then the JSON gets more updated and the database synchronizes on the JSON, and the screen relies on the database. Querying data is so fast. It's impressive. And caching that data. So this screen is not updated until I click or scroll or type. It's not having to recalculate the data on the screen every frame. So the performance is really fast. There's a lot of performance things in mind here. Like, look how fast it goes when I click between screens. Like, it's doing a lot of data pulling the entire time. How does it know to do it smart? Other than these two screens, this practice queue, it's kind of fast how this happens, but when it's just doing a batch query every time. This progress analysis, there's a delay. I clicked it already and it's loading. But it's not finalized. It's more of a proof of concept. How to introduce new database tables for these sections. Now, this master practice screen, um, I want to do something here. I'm going to clear the database, recreate it. Because what happens is this part of the database screen doesn't yet encompass the practice queue. Because that practice queue, measure master, actually had me add a new database table called measures. What makes sense, I had notes before. I have songs, I have plays. Makes sense that I have measures. So every time I play, the play gets generated, the notes get updated for the play. So I add about 800 notes to the table every time for every play or whatever. So this is doing the notes. But what happens if I go to quick play, stats, measure analysis? Well, it's going to give me error because I don't yet have the measures. I thought I gave it should give a message to the user, but I guess it's at the bottom. It gets errors out before the message is displayed. But the error is I don't have the measures to analyze whatever until go to measure master practice queue. Now it's all created. It created like 600,000 or 60,000. I don't know. I forget the exact numbers. I'm not going to look it up right now. But if I go like the number of rows for notes, number of rows for measures. But now I have the data for measures. Okay. So yeah, this screen right here is a setting. So when done playing the song, there's a setting. Show stats after stop. True. Turn it off. But I like it. So every time after you play a song, it gives you this screen. How well did you do? Oh, I broke the next button. That's a bummer. It should let me cycle through them. I have to click them now. I don't know what happened to my accuracy from C plus, D plus to B, B minus. I've been, oh, that's another change I have to go through. Very recently, I changed the, oh, I forgot about this. Guitar input, there's two different things. Chord frequencies. I've been using this a lot to redefine frequencies. Because when I first defined the frequencies for chords, I've changed it recently with the help of this screen. Because before, when I initially defined it, I defined fret 1 only, pluck the string on the guitar, and I will see like a list of frequency, and I'll do my guess to pick which one I thought. But the way this works right now, pitch detection is monophonic, which isn't the best method for chords, but I'm using it. Monophonic is just picking one string. But on this screen in particular, I have it so when I pluck the string on a chord, it sorts the most played frequency. So it gives you a ranking of this frequency was detected this number of times, highest rank, second, third. And so I go through it, I strum it, and it says, okay, when I strum the chord for this string and fret, does the program detect it? If not, here's the top three. Here's a redefine button. And when you do redefine button, it now shows on the screen three different frequencies. Will it work? I don't know if I want to do this right now, but it'll show three different frequencies, or the top three and a couple more. And I could select them, hit save. And I updated it to show it on the screen right rather than a pop-up. And you could add a new chord, you could search existing. I don't know, will the search work right now? Search. String 3 was selected multiple times. What? Oh, right. It's confusing how to do this. String 1 is string 3. Fret 1 is fret 4. Let's do string 2 is fret 4, string 4, search. Gives me all the chords with that. It's chord 2, fret 2. It's kind of confusing too because I sorted the list of chords. We do view all chords, so right now it's viewing the chords for the selected song, but if I do view all chords, this is all the chords, all defined. And it's sorting it right now by fret. So I'm chord 2, fret 2, I have to go down a bit right here. Chord 2, fret 2. Yes, it does have string 4 and string 3 as fret 4, but it also has string 2. String 5 is fret 2. Anyways, you can add a new chord here. Sometimes when you have a song selected, I don't have the chord defined. Like if I go to Alibi, Rhythm, and I go to chords. No, I go to, go to guitar input, chord frequencies, and there's two chords undefined. Now this is why I always miss this one. String 3, fret 6, string 4, fret 2. I got to fix a bug when I add new chords. Like I add the new chord, but it doesn't get found. I got to figure out why. But if I go to this, to the Measure Master practice cue, I think I see that the song in there. Or at least I did before I changed the algorithm. E flat rhythm. Oh, what? How is it not here? It was here before I changed the algorithm. I'm waiting for an alibi. But essentially, let me go back. It went to the default song. Rhythm, stats, common misses, chords. That's the number one chord that I keep missing. String 3. Wait, no, hold on. Number 2 chord. Wait, which one is it again? String 3, fret 2, string 4, fret 6. No, it is number 1 missed chord that I missed because it's not defined. So this helps me debug. It's not fair that I actually get it missed because I know I hit it. It's just not defined, so of course it's a miss. But yeah, one thing I changed very recently that I have yet to play test. I once again modified the guitar input pitch. Hey, why do I have this on 256? No, 128. Yeah, there we go. Reunit. Chunk size. Less latency. Um, oh, volume threshold's too high. I'm not going to pluck this guitar string, so you're not going to see anything here. But I changed the pitch detection. Still real time, but I changed it to no longer force integer. I'm going to try to do, well, it is integer, it's 16-bit integer, but what I mean is I'm going to look at float value now. So I'm going to retry. And what I mean is if I go data, I'll put single note definitions, frequencies. See this? Now it's float. And that's going to allow more precision, higher accuracy, instead of forcing integer. So I'm changing some logic around with the note detection that I have to test out. I changed the logic around for the actual note detection function as well. Debug. And I changed around quite a bit. The note hit effect should clear up relative to when the sustain ends more accurately. But that's a trick, or that's troublesome with the notes that are so short. It's going to be hard to see. So I have debug note hit as on. That's why the note's changing colors on the bottom. That's signifying note hit. That's my real-time display of it displaying to the user that the note's been hit is when the finish line on the bottom changes color to the note. So now I turned it off, so now it's static. That's my best method of displaying that a note hit has taken place at the current version. Is to display the color of the note. But it's the best thing I got. It's rapid, it's quick. Several layers going on here. Like right now, you have the notes, you have the song time, you have the measure number, you have the tempo, you have the previous frame that has to erase it, you have the layers to not overlap, you have the calculations of the notes, how far they move. The goal is 60 frames a second, and each frame trying not to calculate. Like, how do you know what frets? I like having the frets display only when they, like the frets text on the bottom. Only to display the frets text if there's an active note. And then adjusting the tempo for the song, having all the notes displayed the correct. You know what's funny is like all that logic of importing the notes when the notes are going to display what type of notes they are, what strings they are, what frets they are. And all that, I got no problem. Balancing the tempo, time signatures, all that stuff. I had to write my own logic. It's not the easiest thing to do. Is in this library, Guitar Pro library Python. There's no official way of saying, oh, when does this note play? You don't have that. You have like the measure information of the note, like this measure 50, note 2. You have the tempo of that measure. Measure 50, note 2 has tempo this. And you have the time signature. You have that tempo and the time signature, measure number, and note number index relative to the measure. And then you also have the note length. And you have to put all that together and decide yourself. Because you know how you open Guitar Pro, you click on the note, measure 50, note 2. On the top, it says, okay, this particular note is 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the song. That's not how the Python Guitar Pro library works. You don't have logic off the bat that gives you when that note is supposed to be played. So what I had to do is calculate that. Okay, How long in time is this particular note length for this tempo and this time signature? A quarter note is this amount of duration. So you say, okay, that must mean if you're the very first note of the very first measure, quarter note is this duration. You take 0 seconds plus the duration of the quarter note, and you just keep adding it and adding it. And you eventually get to a point where every note has a start time, has an end time. So you know the song length, and you just track all that. And then you throw in a repeating bar measure. You throw in a ghost. You throw in a dotted. You throw in grace, and all the note length changes. And currently, what I'm doing is I'm doing a trick for ghosts. I'm just, instead of having the ghost added to the note log, I remove the ghost and just extend the duration of the note before it to the ghost length. But anyways, there's a lot of departments in this project. There's a lot of under the hood. There's multiple layers. There's Pygame, the game loop, the screen, user perspective. There's the backend and client side server, database, JSON, SQL query. Then there's a server side of all the synchronization of files with the client across multiple devices. There's the website. So right now the user, there's not much for the user to do on the website. It's more of for file synchronization. I have my different computers having the same. Hey, there you go. Now it updated to be completed. Oh, dang it. That's why it got the ghost test song again. It's a crash. Okay, I know where to go from here though. I gotta fix the practice queue end on time. And I'm sure there's more to share. But I'm at a good point. So I'm gonna stop this stream. But I would like to do more devlogs. I'm currently taking a break from rendering the playthrough videos. Like right now, I'm currently programming, playtesting, and I still have to render SoundCloud sessions for over 100 sessions. So I'm currently at session 477. I gotta play test the node hit updates or the frequency updates, chord detection, note detection. Oh yeah, but one more thing. I'll demo this my next playtest. Minigame. I changed this quite a lot. And I first time showing it here. Not gonna grab a guitar yet. But this goes along with the frequency floats now for the chords notes being floats rather than ints. So I recalculated all of them. And this screen in particular is to help intonation and bowing of the neck or whatever the term is. So this is tuning each fret basically of each string. So we have a chord version, and then this is the single note version. So you start on string 1 fret 0, you get that right. It moves up to string 1 fret 1, string 1 fret 2, one at a time. Previously, the only way to change the selected string and fret was going through these next and previous, but now I added it so you can click anywhere. So if I want to go to string 1 fret 12, I just click that, click around to the right string and fret that I want. But I also added a new mode to make it a little easier. Is let's say instead of sequential 1 by 1, I want to do intonation. And what that does, it goes string 6 fret 0, you pluck it. If you get it right, it'll show you your readings, your intonation status. It's going to be float value, expected and actual. You get it right, it's going to go to the next one, string 6 fret 12, same thing. So instead of going each fret for each string, it's going to go to the main one for intonation. Open string, fret 12, open string, fret 12, open string, fret 12, open string, fret 12. So that's one thing I got to improve on is intonation. And the other factor of bowing of the neck, or I forgot the other word, the truss rod adjustment. So those are for like frets 1 through 6 or whatever. I want to add analysis of like keeping that data of every string and fret that went through during this session, and like while this screen is open, and have it say, oh, you need neck adjustment. Oh, you need intonation adjustment. Rather than, because it's either you do this here, or you go in willy-nilly and play the song and like, oh, why did I get a miss? I know I hit it. Well, perhaps your intonation's off. Because what happened was, when I was playing this, my E flat guitar that I just pick up and play, there were some strings that were off by 1. So the old logic I had integer 3 values at least for every string fret. The one I was most confident in, -1, +1. Around, that would be my average frequency that I set. And I was like, when I come to the screen, I play some of these frets, and it's like +1 frequency out of range. And it's determined as a miss. It's like, I know I hit it. So that's why I'm still changing things around with the note detection. I changed, along with the float value, the criteria for it being determined as a hit based on percent deviation. So now I'm going to try this 1% deviation. I'm going to see how it affects my accuracy. I'm going to try this song again. I'm going to see if I could get a B or something. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to end this devlog.